You know what's really unfair? How big business gets away with stuff that you and I and everybody else could get away with. Stuff that, in fact, if we tried, we'd probably go to jail for. Here's just a little sampling. Thanks to their political connections and economic power, big business can get away with practices that are unfair, unethical, and/or work against the public good, given the size of the program. However, $74 billion serving 45 million people in 2015, 236. You would expect big business to chase after that money, which is why SNAP funds can now be used in some states to buy fast food like Taco Bell and KFC 237, as well as most kinds of junk food also. This video is just scratching the surface of the issue of corporate power. Watch this video next for a deeper dive into how big business is able to influence government for its own benefit, including drinks like Red Bull candy and mixes for alcoholic beverages. 238 lobbying wins again. A few examples. Suppose you wanted a product that costs 10, 20, or 50 times more in the US than in another country. It makes sense to buy it overseas, right? It does, and prescribed drugs have some of the greatest price disparities around. But big businesses take unfair advantage of their size to put a real squeeze on their vendors. Walmart, for example, is legendary here, forcing vendors to charge less and less, and then taking longer and longer to pay them. As a result, those suppliers have to send jobs overseas, hurting the US economy. And in fact, several have been forced out of business by these practices. 239, and on top of that, the company forces small retailers out of business when it enters each new market, destroying local economies. 240. There are countless examples of drugs that cost more in the US than elsewhere. As an extreme example, consider a drug for hepatitis C that costs $84,000 for a 12-week treatment in the US, but just $900 overseas. 235, but you can't legally get the overseas option. That's because, thanks to heavy lobbying by the drug companies, the Food and Drug Administration has made it illegal to import prescription drugs. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, was created so people in need could buy food. Every business wants to lower the costs of the things it buys. This is just a tiny sampling. Think of other examples of unfair stuff big businesses get away with, and share them below.